when things are going bad, don't get all bummed out, don't get startled, don't get frustrated. If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Iron Will podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything. Willing to do anything to get a desired outcome. Extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show.
And you're picking up really good.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool. Yeah, I think I just have to kind of keep myself leaned forward just a little bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lean back and you start telling your story and you're not.
Yep.
And that's what I find myself doing,
Yeah.
talking way back here. And,
And it totally sounds different. Yeah.
So,
Cool. Well, I told Shane last night, we were talking and I said, we should be recording this right now.
Yeah.
Some of those conversations where you're just having just a natural flowing conversation.
Yeah.
It's the best kind. So
It really is.
yeah.
You should just always have a little auto recorder. You just
Shane's all creeping on everybody. In the state
Start
of
up a
Utah, I think
conversation.
that's legal to just
can you put your AirPods in? And so I can pick up your audio.
Yeah. Can you speak a little closer to my pocket, please?
Yeah. So today we have my sister on the podcast with us, and I'm really excited about having her. And so what she's going to talk about is her perspective of my brain injury. And also, if she's willing, 3 years ago, right?
Yep.
She got divorced 3 years ago. And so I'm going to let her, if she's willing, talk
if she's
a little
willing.
bit.
Are you you're calling her out on it right now?
He
you
is.
didn't even prep her on this.
Putting me right on the spot. We can definitely get into that.
Awesome.
But I wanted to talk about some things because I've listened to Shane on different podcasts. I've listened to Shane on this podcast. And every time I do, I have thoughts about stuff that I want to say,
Stuff that you want to add in.
Stuff that I want to add because
great.
he's not one that's, going to be sitting there tooting his own horn and saying all this awesome stuff he did.
That's the issue that I have. I don't want to sound like I'm better than anyone or anything like that, but
He's quite humble.
He is.
yeah, but
It's a
I
good
want to
quality,
get
man.
my story out. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, showing the triumph and the overcome and all that kind of stuff, remember in the perspective of the people listening.
yeah,
You know what I mean? When they hear it, you're trying to get them to elevate them, to motivate them to change or whatever they need to do, right?
Yeah.
You're influencing. And because you're an influencer, and that's what you're doing, you kind of have to get some of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just don't let it get to your head. It's okay to talk about yourself, just don't let it get to your head.
And that's really hard for me. But
That's okay. We're here to do that. for you.
I'm getting way better at it. So yeah.
And it never comes across as cocky. Like he said,
No,
other
never.
people that are listening to it don't know the whole, all the backstories and all the little triumphs because those are the, just all the little things that happen along the way. And there's so many things that happen. So, and from an outside perspective, we're all seeing and picking up on different things. Like I just said, from the beginning of when you started this podcast to now,
Yeah.
what an improvement and just feeling like you're just in your element and more natural. Yeah.
Not even just the speech, but personality wise, it's opened my eyes to everyone is going through a hard time right now.
Yep.
And, and
for sure.
you got to be respectful to those people that are going through something hard right now. Yeah.
So can I say something? Something I've noticed, you know, because I've been on every single one with you except for last week, and I missed that.
Yeah.
We had like 10 kids at the house.
Yeah.
Dude, it was insane. We're watching extra kids at the house. And I just, dude, between that and the gym, I couldn't even make it over. But something that I've noticed too is even just you present, like, because we're here together, you're more calm than you were in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the beginnings, you guys,
Remember
Shane would be
the
like,
Nice Monroe
his leg would be like
podcast?
tapping, and he'd be like just so nervous.
Yeah.
And but now, dude, you're like so chill. And some of that might be the CBD, might be some.
Yeah.
Of
it could be.
Can't
but
hurt.
but at the same time, like you've become more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
it
it.
shows. And
You know
just
what I mean?
like the
I
other
think it's
thing
good.
that's kind of funny that I've noticed is, you know, Shane and I talk a lot just
Mm-hmm.
in just personal conversations. And I think the podcaster kind of comes out in him sometimes, just even in a normal conversation, because he'll be like, do you think that the reason why you're like that is because of
Yeah.
this? And it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. It's almost like he's like interviewing me a little bit all the time, but it's cool. Like it moves the conversation along and
For
it
sure.
makes me think about things that
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought about. So
It's great.
yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. Do you want me just to tell you, like, so, I don't know, just kind of our relationship a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, a little
Let's
background
start
first.
there.
and then-
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Did you even mention that her name's Emily? I mean, you know,
My name's Emily, guys.
yeah.
that is
So-
a significant thing. I
Yeah.
have a sister named Emily as well, and she's an angel right now. But it's a beautiful name. So
Yeah.
I
Thank
just
you.
yeah.
Yeah, so Shane and I, there's 4 kids in the family. We have a sister named Christina, and then there's our brother Dustin, and then me, I'm number 3, and then Shane is the baby of the family. So me and him, I think, we've always been pretty tight, I think.
Well, first of all, my brother was 7 years older than me. And so
yeah.
that's a
Right.
big gap.
So there's an age gap. So I grew up with a brother on each side of me, and I think me and Dustin were kind of buddies for a while, and then he outgrew me, and then
Yeah.
Shane came along, but I think Shane and I kind of have, I don't know, of everybody, maybe the more similar personality. Like
Yeah.
we kind of are the ones that are wanting to kind of push the boundaries a little bit and just see what we can get away with. And I don't know, similar sense of humor. We just have always been tight. Like he's the one who, you know, in certain situations, a funeral or something like that, like I don't want to make eye contact with him at the wrong time because I know we'll both start laughing. So, you know, but we've been good buddies, and we still are. Like
great.
our relationship obviously has evolved as we've gotten
Yeah.
older and
Sure.
gone
Well,
through life. And
Can you
Yeah.
kind of tell about when we went to San Diego?
yeah, well, the first
Well,
time
yeah, we went twice.
we did. So the first time that we went, Shane, so he was doing a study with, it was UC Irvine, a stem cell study research. And he had asked me if I wanted to come with him on one of his trips. He was going like every 3 months, I think.
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, cool. So we planned this. We're going to go in November. And meanwhile, Shane didn't even know this, but my marriage was coming to an end.
Yeah.
And so the timing of it was kind of perfect because it was just a good time that I
Break
needed
or-
to,
yeah.
like just to kind
Sure.
of get away and like
Yeah.
get my mind on something else for a little bit. So,
And to feel like you have support from your family
Yeah.
and things.
I mean, I kind of dropped it on him like right before we left on that trip.
she was really good about like masking it.
Yes.
And like you wouldn't have never known like something was wrong.
Right. I told him, I used the analogy of like that feeling when your sock is like sliding down in your shoe and that it feels horrible, but on the outside it looks fine. Nobody knows.
nobody
and
knows.
inside you're like, oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy.
That's a great analogy. I'm going to use that one. That's a
You're
good one.
welcome.
But at the same time, it needs to be fixed.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's going to keep hindering and bothering and bothering and bothering. Like that's the kind of stuff you have to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Eventually she did.
eventually I did.
Yeah. Sure.
And we can get into that in a little bit. But yeah,
So this trip, you guys went out to.
so we go to San Diego, and you know, obviously like we had time and we kind of got into stuff and I did open up to him a lot about everything that was going on. And
that was like the most I think we've ever talked, because it was like days upon days.
Yeah.
And,
That's awesome.
And we
really
were able to like go over a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff you were going through at the time. And I told you like what I was going through at the time. So
yeah. So it's like, obviously our problems were totally different,
Yeah.
but we could still kind of boosted each other a little
And
bit.
this was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. So this would have been
3?
November of 2017. So yeah.
Because I remember you talking about you doing that, like going
Yeah.
out. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we'd already
Yep.
been training and stuff.
Right. So I'm not sure how far into the study he was at that point, but yeah, so this was November 2017. And yeah, like just it was honestly perfect timing for me. Just like I said, getting away, being able to open up to him, and honestly one of
just having someone to listen, like it's so valuable.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the best things a person can do for someone that's going through something hard. Like just be there to listen.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I never, ever have questioned if my family would be there for me or, you know, if they're in my corner.
Yeah.
I know I did, but it's so hard for me to open up like that. Like that's not my strong suit, is being vulnerable, and like, because I feel like a couple of things, like I'm burdening them, like, you know, it's a weakness. I should be able to handle it on my own. Like there's all these things. There's a stubbornness, which I think might be a family trait. I don't know. But when you do it, you realize like it does take a strength to do that. It's not a weakness.
Right.
And it makes you feel super validated to know that you have those people, like I've got your back completely.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't.
100%. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't really know who has your back until you're willing to open up.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you underlining. You know, you're like, I know that they do.
Right.
But how much?
But we
do they
haven't
really-
tested it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
I mean, so yeah, so that was cool. We did
So you guys
that.
got to talk a ton. You got to
Talk a
open
ton and
up
have fun and just, you know,
Yeah,
like
just be in beautiful San Diego and just walking around the streets and
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So good times, lots of just, I don't know, just alone time and time to reflect on everything. And just, it was awesome. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to, I do have some things about like before that,
Yeah.
you know, we can maybe backtrack and go back to,
Yeah.
you know, when Shane had his brain injury and all that kind of went into that. I know you guys have talked to my mom and kind of got her.
We've gotten some perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get your dad's perspective.
Yes.
Yes.
And we
I
talked.
wanna
we
get him
talked about
on
it once.
so
we talked about
bad.
it once after a podcast. I'm like, man, we should have been filming this, like, or
Yeah.
recording it right now.
Yep.
But-
we'll have to like twist
See if
his
we can
arm
get
a
it.
little
Yeah,
bit.
see if we can get him to open up. Because I mean, from a father's perspective, being a father myself, I couldn't imagine how hard that would be to see my kid go through
Yeah.
what
Well,
Shane went through.
Well,
and even your baby brother, it's like,
yeah, right.
you know, it's
I remember one thing that he said when we were talking to him that day.
Yeah.
He said in his mind, the best thing he could do was go back to work and just to take care of the family. And that's how my dad thinks.
Yeah.
Like that's his number one thought.
Yeah, he's like, where do my responsibilities lie?
And he knows.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about that, like kind of what each of our parents have kind of instilled. And with him, it's like working hard, like honesty and integrity. You say
Yeah,
you're
that's
going to do
great.
something, you do it.
Yeah.
And you work hard for what you've got and you earn it. And mom is like the, you know, the glue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sure.
the
For sure.
just total unconditional love, you know, and support. And so we're lucky, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
We've got,
We have
good
two really
foundation.
good parents, and
Yeah.
I
That's really
had
cool.
a like really good childhood, and yeah,
Yeah.
so
From the time that I've known them, they definitely are awesome parents.
yeah, I think
Your
they're-
mom is so nice. Like she's
Oh, I don't think anyone could say
She-
anything
yeah,
bad about
seriously.
either one of them.
Yeah.
But
and your dad is definitely a stellar guy. You
Yeah.
know, he I still want to go out hunting with you guys sometime.
Yeah. Come on.
Record
I definitely
it.
should. Yeah. My experience, I've never actually been hunting. I never got to do that kind of stuff with my dad.
I grew up that way. Like
Yeah.
that was something I grew up with.